When we think of the Ice Age, we imagine mammoths, saber-toothed cats, maybe cavemen. But the Pleistocene world was filled with other titans, strange, powerful, and now forgotten. Creatures that shaped entire ecosystems, yet vanished forever. Imagine standing on Earth 20,000 years ago. The air bites your lungs with every breath, sharp and dry. Behind you, on the horizon, looms a wall of ice so vast it swallows the sky. A frozen cliff taller than any skyscraper, stretching farther than the eye can see. This is the edge of a glacier, and beyond it lies a continent buried under kilometers of solid ice. But turn away from the frozen wall, and the view changes. Before you spreads an endless plain, rolling like an ocean of grass. No forests, no jungles, just open steppe, stretching from Europe across Asia, even into the Americas. This is the Mammoth Steppe, the richest land Earth has ever known. It doesn't look like much at first, just tough grasses, herbs and shrubs clinging to life in the cold. But this humble carpet of green is the engine that drives everything. It fuels herds so vast that when they move, the ground trembles. It feeds predators so powerful they could strike fear into even the bravest hunter. The seasons here are brutal. In winter, the land seems dead. Winds scream across the plains, snow buries the earth, and darkness can last for months. To survive means to endure hunger, to outlast the cold, to never stop moving. But then, summer comes, and the world is reborn. Rivers thaw and flood their banks. Wildflowers blaze across the plains in colors that defy the gray sky. For a brief, miraculous time, life explodes. You can almost hear it, the pounding of hooves as bison stampede across the horizon, the low bellow of mammoths echoing in the distance, the growl of predators hidden in the tall grass. This was not a barren wasteland. It was a kingdom alive with giants. And here, in this vast arena of survival, creatures rose to dominance. Beasts unlike anything alive today. Some gentle, some terrifying, all unforgettable. Yet most of them are names we've forgotten, overshadowed by the mammoth and the saber-tooth. These were the true rulers of the Ice Age, and their story is about to be told. You've stepped into the heart of the Ice Age. Around you stretches the Mammoth Steppe, and in the distance, shadows move. These are not the mammoths you know. They are other titans, less remembered, but no less extraordinary. The ground shakes first, then comes the sound, a low, thunderous rumble, like distant drums. A herd of steppe bison surges across the horizon, their shaggy coats rippling in the wind, their horns sharp and sweeping. Each one weighs as much as a small car, yet they move as a single body, powerful and unstoppable. For the people who painted their images deep inside European caves, these animals were life itself. Food, clothing, shelter. Everything the Ice Age hunter needed. But for predators too, they were survival. Wolves, lions, and even humans followed their herds, waiting for weakness, for a straggler to fall behind. In this land, the bison were the beating heart of the ecosystem. Travel south into the warmer edges of the Ice Age world, and you find another forgotten giant. It lumbers slowly through ancient woodlands, its claws as long as knives. At first glance, it seems almost harmless, a sloth after all. But stand beside it, and you feel small. This is Megatherium, the giant ground sloth. When it rears onto its hind legs, it towers 6 meters high, taller than any elephant. Its bulk is enough to topple trees as it feeds. Despite its size, it is a gentle giant, living on leaves and branches. Yet even herbivores here must defend themselves. One swipe of those claws could crush a predator's skull. To the first humans who saw it, Megatherium must have seemed like a monster from myth. A creature too large, too strange to belong to their world. But the Ice Age had monsters of its own. In the long grass, something stirs. Silent, watching. Larger than any lion alive today, with muscles coiled tight beneath golden fur. This is the cave lion, the most fearsome predator of Eurasia. It hunted in prides, just as its descendants do, but these lions had no manes, their sleek bodies built purely for power. Imagine facing a cat nearly 4 meters long, weighing as much as a grizzly bear, its eyes fixed on you in the half-light of dusk. Early humans painted their likeness on cave walls not out of admiration, but out of fear. To our ancestors, the cave lion was a rival, another hunter, fighting for the same prey. And then, there was a creature so imposing that even predators gave it space. The short-faced bear, taller than any man when it stood upright, 3.5 meters of raw muscle. Unlike today's bears, it had long legs built for speed. It could run down prey across open ground, striking terror into everything around it. Imagine meeting one on the steppe. Its head towers above you, jaws opening wide enough to crush bone in a single bite. To Ice Age humans, this was not just a predator, it was a nightmare, living flesh and blood. And still, there were more. Giant beavers the size of black bears. Woolly rhinoceroses, armored and fierce, sweeping snow aside with massive horns. Irish elk, crowned with antlers wider than the spread of your arms 3 times over. The Ice Age was a parade of giants, some familiar, many forgotten. Together they created a world as rich and wild as anything Earth has ever known. The Ice Age giants ruled for hundreds of thousands of years. They had endured shifting climates, advancing glaciers, and retreating seas. But in the end, their world unraveled quickly, far more quickly than anyone could have imagined. It began with the warming. The ice sheets melted, releasing torrents of water that carved new rivers, drowning valleys, and raising seas. The Mammoth steppe, that vast, endless plain, began to shrink. Grasslands gave way to forests and wetlands. The open, wind-swept world that had sustained herds of bison, mammoths, and rhinoceroses was vanishing, and with it, their way of life. But climate alone was not the only force at work. A new predator had spread across the continents: humans. With fire, tools, and cooperation, we were unlike anything these giants had ever faced. We were small, fragile, and slow compared to them. Yet everywhere we went, extinction seemed to follow. Picture the giant ground sloth, towering above the treetops, oblivious to the threat of tiny hunters armed with spears tipped in stone. Or the Irish elk, its enormous antlers catching the last rays of the sun as human arrows cut through the air. The short-faced bear, once the terror of the plains, now stalked not just prey, but rival hunters who challenged its reign. For millennia, these giants had faced wolves, lions, and glaciers, and survived. But they could not withstand the double blow of a warming world and the relentless expansion of humankind. One by one, they disappeared. The great herds grew smaller, their bones scattered across riverbanks, caves, and frozen tundra, until silence replaced the thunder of hooves. By 12,000 years ago, most were gone. The steppe bison, the cave lion, the woolly rhinoceros, the Irish elk, the ground sloths of the Americas, all vanished, leaving only the mammoth to stagger into the twilight of extinction. To the first humans who watched them fade, it must have seemed like losing a world of myth, creatures too vast, too powerful, too eternal to ever truly vanish. And yet, vanish they did. Today, we walk the same ground where they once roamed. Cities rise where bison herds thundered. Roads cross valleys where cave lions once hunted. And yet, if you listen closely, you can almost feel their presence. Echoes of giants written into the earth itself. Their fall is a warning. Even the mightiest can disappear, and what we remember of them now are only fragments, bones in the ground, stories in stone, shadows painted on cave walls. The forgotten giants of the Ice Age are gone, but their memory reminds us how fragile life can be. The forgotten giants of the Ice Age are gone, but their story still shapes us. They remind us that even the mightiest can vanish, and that every world eventually fades. So I'll leave you with this. If you could bring back just one of these lost titans, which would it be? The thunderous steppe bison, the towering ground sloth, the fearsome cave lion, or the short-faced bear? Tell me in the comments, and let's keep their memory alive together.